Hello everyone, this is Mary, and today I'll be looking at Ancestors Legacy. Now this is a game that I'm playing for free on a free weekend, and whenever a free weekend comes up I usually think of two things. The first one is that the game isn't that popular or good and it's trying to drum up sales, and the second one is that the game is good, but it's struggling with popularity. Perhaps it has been maybe half a year or a year, and it's just waned in popularity. Yet there was a big update recently. I think this is the latter, in that there has been an update recently, and it's trying to get attention again. It apparently came out last year, and in fact, I haven't actually tried free weekends on Steam very much either. I think it's a nice way of doing demos without much effort, since one way of doing demos is to just allow you to play the game for about an hour or so. In fact, I only have an hour left to play on this game, so I should probably get a move on. The first thing that I saw was what you saw right there was an automatic benchmark for my settings. It's a nice pop-up for the first run. I've literally only started this a few minutes ago, yeah, it's just nice to see that it did detect my hardware settings and try to do something about it. Looking at the corner here, there appears to be some sort of profile, though I can't click on it or anything. Looks like I gain points or rankings or something, but as you can see here, my Steam name does have non-English characters in it, and this is actually pretty cool. I've played a few games with my profile, my Steam profile in the corner, and it hasn't been able to render non-English characters. Oh wow, this is actually impressive. There's, aside from master, I usually only expect 3 volume bars, which is music, effects, and voice, but usually this would go into with sound effects in general, so ambient sounds, effects, and user interface would just be all combined. Subtitles. Let's see here. It looks like subtitles are... There's no way to disable subtitles, although having it as a bar, I guess that's a limitation of how the interface was designed, but having this kind of makes it awkward to see what languages there are exactly. Oh, that's a... I'm not actually clicking to change these tabs, I'm just hovering over them. So that means when I press the gameplay, it switched to language straight away. I don't have much time left for this demo, so I should probably just change it down to easy. I think this is relying on bars a little too much, since I'm not seeing how many notches there are on this bar. The same thing here. I actually have no idea how many languages there are. I have to... Now, since this is on the Unreal Engine, I believe, this is going to be fairly hardware intensive, so I am actually worried about whether all of this would work. I think I'm going to set this 60. Having a full slider for this is kind of excessive, mainly because you usually need a multiple for your monitor. So if your monitor is 60 Hz, you usually need to set it to a multiple of that. It appears that I can't set this to 20 FPS, which would allow me to play with even higher graphics settings, and it's a valid multiple of 60 as well. Now, I know that 20 FPS sounds ridiculous, but I have actually been able to play at that frame rate. This is pretty cool. I've only seen this in MMORPGs so far, to run on laptops and stuff like that, but this actually lowers the rendering resolution of the 3D, so and upscales it accordingly to your resolution. But I prefer having a 1 by 1 pixel thing, of course. Oh, the recommended hardware is actually quite low. Well, the minimum hardware anyway. So, I guess it's kind of a shame that it thought I was going to be low. So I think I'm just going to pick medium and see how well I go in terms of frame rate. Oh, that's okay. I can actually click on it and it sticks. Depth of field, that's off. That'll probably save a lot of frames. But otherwise, I'm going to just leave this on medium, I think. There are a lot of things here related to precision. I'm kind of wondering how important precision is, because these numbers are kind of large. Totally eye tracking. I've never seen this before. I've looked at eye tracking technology when it was in very experimental stages in university, related to games, but it was more like an idea rather than actual implementation. The idea that eye tracking has actually been implemented, that's a surprise, because this is something that's I doubt a lot of people have. I really wonder who would have this. Although I guess it would be cool to try if it's possible, but I don't have anything like that. Hopefully this won't take so long, because I don't have a lot of time left. Let's see. Oh dear. I can't start this because I need to do the tutorials. 4 tutorial chapters. I might not actually have enough time to play this. Let's see how long this takes. Okay. If that's a loading symbol in the corner, this is taking a while to load. Oh, I think it's done now. Well, so far my frame rate appears to be acceptable. Seems to be within what I'm usually expecting from my computer, about 40 FPS. I suppose that's just the life of a Viking. Okay, oh. Okay, it's dropped to 20 FPS now. Well, 25-ish. Okay, this is a little weird. The camera is also changing in height, so it doesn't look like it's moving straight up, down, left and right when I'm using the edge scrolling. That's a really minor visual thing though. Left click to select. Oh? What's this? I'm selecting an entire squad, rather than a unit. Now I've played real-time strategies before, so this tutorial is kind of it's probably a bit too slow for me, because the controls are usually the same. You left click to select and you right click to do a command. This is kind of fascinating though, because it's just doing groups automatically. You don't need to, you know, do a box.
Missed our landing target.
This mini-map design is kind of nice. It all has a parchment filter on it. It has text, I think. And this entire thing, this entire dock is slightly transparent as well. The buttons here are not, and the mini-map is not, but that's a subtle effect down there.
Let's go. We'll never break through with...
This color palette is very dark. The blues here for all the selection circles. I mean, I suppose it blends in better than that bright neon green that a lot of real-time strategies use, but it does mean that it's not all completely visible. Oh wow, I can actually zoom into the individual. Yeah, so this, I'm guessing this is an RTS, which is about having a lot more units than usual. because I'm already commanding what appears to be about 40, maybe 30, 40 units. Yeah, just sitting here waiting for this battle to go through. It's kind of boring so far, because it's not really exciting looking. It's all dark and all I'm hearing is screams.
Burn everything down.
Yes, very violent of you. Yep, I can't actually run away from combat, it seems. I'm trying to move this squad over here. They're not moving. Okay, now this is looking a bit weird. I know that that's the edge of the fog of war, but that effect doesn't really make the river look very pretty. I don't play a lot of RTSs very often though, and that's because it's usually a bit too slow. I usually end up increasing the speed a little bit in order to just go through things more quickly. Let's see. Wolf has survived. Continue. That took a little while. So the loading time for the first tutorial was fairly long, but this second one was fairly short. It was still quite a while, but I'm hoping that the first loading was because of pre-caching of assets and whatnot, and it's not going to be a recurring trend. Okay, so now that I'm seeing a number of different hotkeys here, it's R, T, Y, and U, and V. That corresponds. That actually corresponds one-to-one to the positions on your keyboard. So R, T, U, and
To replenish your squad, use retreat.
Y.
Or go back to a camp you control.
So that means that rather than putting my hand on WASD, if I want to use these hotkeys efficiently, I should actually put my hand on T, F, G, and H. Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering about these hotkeys, because my hand is always on WASD, and I need to put my hands on a different place on the keyboard to use these effectively. I'm not really sure how that's going to work.
Let's hide in the bushes.
It looks like I need to actually hold the space bar to skip. That's a little different. Mainly because it just doesn't tell me to hold the space bar. It just says space bar.
Prepare an ambush out there.
Okay. So I think the retreat button is what I'm supposed to use because I'm stuck in battle if I start it.
Over there, they're coming. On the double. They have attacked.
Ooh, I'm in trouble again.
Enemy.
Okay, so 3 to 2 is still a possibility in combat,
We should
but it's
rest
usually
before
more
we go
risky.
any further.
For the god.
Who did I kill? Were those civilians? He said civilians.
On the double.
Oh, I'm not a bad guy, am I? Oh, well, I'm playing Vikings. So, you know, plundering and stuff, I know.
That's Yoder.
This symbol is a little weird because it's a magnifying glass and an exclamation mark. So it actually, I didn't even know it was the hint system. Stealth is not something that's normal in RTSs, I think.
Let's get them.
But this is mainly a stealth mission.
We'll come to check what's going
Okay,
on.
so if I fail, it actually gives me more information on how to succeed. Ah, good. I have a much larger squad now.
Great job. Two.
Many more soldiers now. That's very nice. It's nice that there's a timer for me to know how long this mission's been going, but unfortunately, I think I'm actually running low on time now for the this trial.
An ambush.
And well, unfortunately, this is technically another tutorial, and I'm not really sure what to think. The first one showed me some rudimentary stuff, and this is showing me combat, but I'm guessing the next tutorial would show me buildings and stuff like that. I guess there is a little too much for an RTS to show in a single mission. So unfortunately I can't really review this properly, I think, after just seeing a single gameplay cycle. But from what I've seen so far, the squad concept is interesting because it lets me organize my forces in a much faster way. Because when in a normal RTS you make tons of units and you need to think about composition and grouping as well with hotkeys. But having it as
all the nearby units come from here.
having it as squads certainly makes things more smoother. At the expense of, I suppose, having not having individual health for units, and you can't split them up or anything like that. As for multiplayer, obviously this isn't it. This is just a single player campaign, and usually in RTSs, that's where everything is. That's not really something I can do in this kind of first impression thing, because I need to learn the entire system, and I need to learn it well in order to play through that. And unfortunately, when it comes to this setting and this campaign, there doesn't seem to be much to it. There's no, exciting story for it so far. It's just a bunch of Vikings plundering and doing Viking things. I can't really say I'm going to, get this game and continue playing it. Part of that is because I don't play RTSs very much, but it's also because nothing's really made me feel excited yet. Nothing's really endeared me to this. It's just been a fairly slow tutorial and a fairly slow campaign where I just go around the map and go gradually. Now, if this is your first time in an RTS, that's fine, but if there's a way to skip this, I would very much like that.
Good to have.
Alright, and now for some amazing finish where I have overwhelmed the enemy. Well, it's supposed to be all very exciting, but I'm just not seeing a lot of exciting stuff here. It's all melee combat, so there's nothing flashy. And, well, I've already noted it before, but it's all very, very dark and slow going. And, well, I guess it would be more exciting as I gain more units, but I'm just not seeing a lot. And I suppose one nice excuse for that would be the fact that, this is an RTS, the camera is far away. And I guess it's cool that I can zoom in and actually see this action. That makes things cool. But well, other than that, So, yeah, I guess that's it. It's not a really comprehensive review, unfortunately. I think I actually do need to spend considerably more time on this. But unfortunately, I am out of time. I've played through 2 gameplay cycles, one was the tutorial, and unfortunately, there are supposed to be 2 more tutorials after this, which means that it's just going to take much more time to get a proper impression of this game. I'm very surprised at the number of options available, especially in regards to like camera movement and precision of the movement and all of that. The level of graphical detail here is expected from a real-time strategy game. It's not the greatest level of graphics out there. Some of that is because it might be because I'm playing on medium settings. But for a real-time strategy game, you usually have low-detailed models anyway, because well, the camera's usually not so close. But not only that, but this is commonly meant for multiplayer. And the campaign is usually quite dry. That's usually what I expect from an RTS. And, well, unfortunately, from what I've seen so far, the campaign is kind of dry. If you're going onto this just to see the single-player campaign, I wouldn't suggest this, I think. And I'm definitely not interested either. There's nothing interesting enough for me. And yeah, that's it. I hope this first impression was interesting and you took something away from it. And yeah, thanks for watching. So, see you next time.